Mid-season balancing patch landed this week with the start of the Starwatch event, and it looks like the Junkrat Queen is going to raise hell for the rest of the season. Or is she? Let's have a look. Hey guys, I'm Damesies from the Omnic Post. The Starwatch event landed yesterday, and it has been interesting. More about that in my next video. I want to play that mode a little more before I give it my final judgment. Today I want to talk about the mid-season balancing patch. With the update that started off the Starwatch event, we also got a series of balancing changes, a good deal of buffs, and a few nerfs. The changes that stood out the most were those for Junkrat Queen. But before we dive into that one, let's see what the other changes were. Orisa saw the damage on her fusion driver increased from 12 to 13, which might sound like a small change, but with the rate at which she fires, that stacks up very fast. I know there's people out there that think that she is already very dominant, but I can kind of understand why Blizzard decided to bump up her damage. While she can be very much in control of any fight, she often does not pack enough of a punch to solidify that control into actual progress. But in the end, we'll need to see what this change does for her. Winston got an interesting change. His bot kills better now. I guess he picked up Pilates classes. See, when he lands on an enemy player, that will do a full 50 damage. But then he really needs to hit his target. The further he lands away from that target, the less damage his bot will do. Now, up till now, the fall off damage distance on that bot kill was at 1 meter. Now, they raised that to 1.3 meters. I personally think you'll notice that buff best if you jump into a group of people. The power of the bot compels you. Wrecking Ball got the first nerf on this list. They felt like his survivability during the longer fights was a little too good. He is supposed to be that in and out tank. And I'm not talking about the burger chain. I mean, he needs to be disruptive. The longer he stays in that fight, the more risk he takes. So they decreased the duration of his adaptive shield from 9 to 7 seconds. The echo change is one that the players have been talking about ever since he was released. See, some players are so good at echo and the characters that she copies that they managed to squeeze out 2 to even 3 of their ultimates within that one copy cycle, which I don't think was their intent ever, but they kind of rolled with it because it was fun. Until now, I guess. They are slowing down the rate at which she generates ult in copy from 5.5 times to 4 times, which is a huge nerf. I mean, in a controlled environment like the shooting range, you can still get 3 ults in there. But in an actual fight, that is going to be very difficult. Now, to counter that, they reduced the ultimate cost for Echo herself by 25%, which is also kind of big. So in other words, she's going to have her ult up a lot more, but she won't be able to push out as much ultimates. Now, the idea behind all of that is that they want Echo to make more of a practical choice. Which utility of another hero can she use best at that time, instead of just going for the play of the game? Which I can understand, but it also removes one of the most fun aspects about Echo. And the thing is, I don't think there's that many good Echo players out there. I personally only know one. That's it. Not too long ago, they nerfed Junkrat's concussion mine because they were kind of done with the one-hit combos. But they felt they overdid it a little bit, so they're bringing it back somewhere halfway. It used to be 120 back in the day. They nerfed it to 100. Now they're bringing it back up to 110. Ana is the second hero and the last one on this list that got nerfed. With the passive heal that all the supports have, they feel that she no longer needs kind of save herself by using her grenade, the explosive heal like they call it. So they're decreasing that from 100 to 60, which is huge. I have recently started playing more Ana. I've been having fun. And I do get to a point that they have a self-healing passive now. But let's be honest, Ana's problem was never in between the fights, in between getting shot. Ana needed that self-heal for when she got mobbed by Winston or by Doomfist. When she gets targeted and her team is not paying attention. Not even when she cries out for help. Because she still is the least mobile support hero. Lucio, Mora, Baptiste, Lifeweaver, Brigitte, Mercy, Zenyatta. They all have different ways of fighting enemies off or escaping the situation. Ana has one sleep dart, at which point she'll ping that there is a sleeping monkey right there, and her team will choose to ignore that ping because they are shooting the enemy Reinhardt's shield. I'm getting a little worked up here, I don't know if you noticed. I'm really afraid that this change is tailored towards Grandmaster players, where people actually work together and sync up, and that the rest of us can just f*** off. And if we don't like it, we can pick another support, but I hope I'm wrong. Baptiste. The cooldown on Baptiste's immortality field was reduced by 2 seconds. Now seriously, why would you take away the little advantage that the old lady has? The day they gave her one of those electrical wheelchairs to escape, sure, go ahead. But all she can do now with this change is surrender. Anyways, Kiriko got some of her abilities streamlined. Her actual reload, so not the animation, was made a little faster, so she doesn't interrupt it herself when she tries to squeeze in a heal. It's basically a bit of a flow enhancement, something that not a lot of players are going to notice, but definitely is an issue for the more experienced Kiriko players. And they added a hero option to completely stop healing from interrupting the reload. Lightweaver. I mean, it's not like Ana is super strong right now. She often also is the first to croak, when the enemy team understands that they need to tackle the supports first and jump into the backline. But have you seen how hunched over she's walking? It almost felt like they're stealing the hard candy from a grandma. You bullies. Lightweaver can no longer life grip a Reinhardt that is using Earth Shatter, which is nice. If we now can stop a Mei from throwing up a wall when a friendly Reinhardt is Earth Shattering, that would be nice. I know, it's a different story. Just give Ana her old grenade back. They also added a lot of hero options for other heroes that allow you to optimize your UI and in some cases fine-tune your flow. I'll leave the patch notes in the description below so you can check those out for yourself. But the one thing that everybody is talking about is, as I said, the Junkrat Queen. Let's have a look. Scattergun. The maximum ammo increased from 6 to 8. The Jagged Blade. Projectile size increased from 0.15 to 0.20 meters. Rampage now deals 40 impact damage and the wound damage is decreased from 100 to 60. And Adrenaline Rush. The Adrenaline passive healing multiplier was increased from 1.25 to 2 times the damage dealt by wounds. Alec Dawson, the lead hero designer for Overwatch, had shared during a Q&A with Karkyu and Eva that they were looking into the Junkrat Queen, that they wanted to make sure she got more playtime. And I guess this is the way they want to get it done. And I think this might work. Some players even think that it might work so good that she becomes meta. But those players are, of course, as always, talking about the higher tier. In any case, let's unwrap this whole story. So let's start out with her gun. She'll have more ammo. I think that is kind of easy. It will have a positive influence on her damage output. I don't think it's going to be as impactful as it would be on other heroes because of the nature of her gun, but still, it's going to help. Another one which is kind of interesting is that they grew the hitbox size of her knife from 0.15 to 0.20 meters. She should have an easier time landing that knife, which is one of my most favorite things to do on the Junkrat Queen. I like to throw my knife at the Ana in the backline and pull her forward, bleeding, which scares the living daylight out of them as they scurry behind an obstacle to find their composure again. Luckily for her, she can flask... Oh. Yeah, never mind. And then there's Rampage, the Junkrat Queen's ultimate. It used to be a full 100 bleed damage, which was dealt over 4.5 seconds. It was damage over time. Now it was brought back to 60, and at 40 damage was actually made into impact damage. So basically, as soon as she hits her targets, it will do 40 damage and then another 60 over 4.5 seconds, making it a total of 100 again. It's math. Math sucks. Now again, I get why they're doing this. For one, her ultimate always kind of lacked that immediate effect. There was a whole show going on and then you saw people slowly dying. But if you jumped on top of that, if you timed it right and there was a follow-up, that could be a team kill. But this shows that 40 initial damage will have an impact. And especially if a group in front of you that is already low on health, if you charge through them and they all die, that is going to be a nice moment. That is going to be the moment we're looking for, and that is part of the problem. Because there's a few problems I have with this change. First off, I've always said it, I'm a huge fan of these damage over time effects. They are kind of pulling back a little bit on this with Junkrat Queen, which I don't like. As I said, everybody's going to be looking for that one moment, and I'm afraid that on some tiers, players will just hold on to that ultimate to see that moment unfold in front of them. But it doesn't happen often enough. So if you come into a situation where they're holding on too long, yeah, you get my point. And I think that has been an issue with a lot of heroes recently. We've seen Blizzard comment on that themselves, that people sometimes wait too long to use certain abilities because they want that high impact moment. Now there's one more change, her Adrenaline Rush. So that is her passive, and now that will heal her 2 times the damage she is doing with her blades or the wounds. It used to be 1.25, so that is a big jump up. It sounds really huge, and it is. But not as huge as it sounds. They kind of took away 40% of her bleeds or her wounds from one of the most important sources of those wounds. The impact is kind of, well, a little more difficult to define. I mean, it is still going to be a nice buff to her self-healing, which she definitely needed. But is it going to be problematically big? I think in some circumstances, with some really good Junkrat Queen players, yeah, definitely. Players that are good enough with tapping those enemy players with their bleeds and that manage to keep them up at all times might become rather difficult to kill. Now the big question everybody's asking themselves, is she going to become meta? And in my opinion, maybe on the high levels. Because those are the people that might benefit the most from these changes. And in the metal tiers, there's definitely going to be more people that are going to try and play her, and to a certain degree they'll have success playing her. But the lower you go down the ladder, the less successful they'll be with Junkrat Queen, in my opinion. But you know what, we'll find out soon enough. Give it 2 weeks and we'll definitely see some things moving. But tell me, what do you think about these changes? And should they give Anna her freaking old grenade back? Let me know in the comments. Join me during my streams on twitch.tv/DamesTV and make sure to subscribe for more updates on Overwatch.